Am I the asshole for encouraging my daughter not to watch her cousin or clean up his mess?
Whenever my sister Lynn goes to any family event, she never watches her own kids and expects everyone else to, including my own children, who have complained about it.
She will leave the room with her toddler, that acts like a wild animal. I told my children, 10 and 13, not to be duped into watching that brat.
My 13-year-old daughter left the room when my sister left her alone with her kid to gossip with my mom.
My daughter got up and left. Lynn's toddlers pulled all the food off by the tablecloth and spilled red pasta sauce all over my mom's carpet.
The kid was screaming, and Lynn started to yell at my daughter when I told Lynn it was her responsibility to watch her own fucking kids.
Lynn said she thought my daughter was watching the baby.
I asked her, "Did you ask my daughter to?"
Lynn said she thought my daughter was smart enough to watch kids if they were alone with them.
My daughter said maybe Lynn should be smarter next time she thinks of having kids that she can't control or watch. Yes, this was rude, and I laughed. My mom told my daughter to help pick up the mess because she helped cause it. My daughter refused, saying it was Lynn's fault because she let her kids run around like animals. My mom said we could all leave because we had no respect for her or her house.
My daughter said she wouldn't be back until her grandmother and aunt respected her. I took my kids home.
My mom thinks I should punish or talk to my daughter and make her apologize, but I won't.
I don't think my daughter did anything wrong, and it's Lynn's fault for not watching her own brats. Honestly, at the age your kids are, I would say entirely not the asshole.
Not only for how you are supporting them to express their feelings and needs but also not bend to the pressure. Don't accept responsibility for things that are out of your control and you haven't agreed to be your responsibility, and teach your children the same. You seem to be doing excellent job on that. The retort your daughter gave was indeed rude. It would have been better to not say things about others' reproductive choices, because it is quite obvious she is picking up these opinions and judgments from her parents. But either way, the parent is the responsible person for whatever the child did, even if there was another minor babysitting.
Not the asshole. Lynn should hire a babysitter if she can't keep track of her kids.
Good on you for supporting your kids in this situation. I can see how in many families the responsibility could be rolled onto the shoulders of the older kids and force them to babysit just by default, which honestly isn't right.
Parents need to be responsible for their own kids. Not the asshole. My mom told my daughter to help pick up the mess because she helped cause it.
How did she help cause it? By not psychically picking up on her aunt's responsibility handoff?
When my kids were that age, I never left a room without being clear who I was asking to watch the kid and never took advantage of that. If you have a kid, they are your responsibility. End of story. Not the asshole. Your sister is assuming people just look after their kids and she shouldn't.
If she had asked.
Other story, but even your daughter should always be allowed to say no, and sister has to accept that. Good for you for standing up for your daughter here. Not the asshole. Lynn started to yell at my daughter when I told Lynn it was her responsibility to watch her own fucking kids.
Definitely. My daughter refused, saying it was Lynn's fault because she let her kids run around like animals.
Right again. I don't think it's rude for your daughter to have said that at all.
If you're a parent, you are required to have 100% responsibility for your children no matter who is present. If you choose to ask someone else, you are doing so as if it is a favor, not a requirement for them to do it because they are capable. Her entitlement that other people can watch her kids because they are there is ridiculous.
Your daughter is right. If you're not mature enough to watch your kids on your own, then don't have more.
Complete not the asshole, and do not tell your daughter to apologize. Make your sister apologize for making your kids feel they need to watch hers.
Am I the asshole for refusing to take a photo of my sister to college with me?
Before my parents had me, 18 male, they had my sister, Emily. Emily was 3 years older than me and she died when I was a few months old.
My parents never recovered. My whole childhood I was in the shadows of the child they lost. I get that grief does things to people and that losing a child is the worst loss a parent can suffer, but it was like I didn't exist most of the time. They talked about Emily all the time. Sometimes they could acknowledge she was gone, but more often than not she was talked about like she was still around.
The most attention I got from my parents is when they force-fed words about how much I loved Emily. It never came natural for me to say, "I love Emily and I miss her so much. I didn't know Emily."
But I did feel haunted by her. I had a big photo of Emily on the wall opposite my bed growing up.
They wanted me to fall asleep to my sister looking over me.
It always felt creepy.
But they had photos of her in every room, even the bathroom.
I remember trying to take the photo in my room down and my parents had a hugely explosive reaction. Like I'm talking, they yelled so loud the neighbors came to check on us.
Emily's room was never touched after she died, and sometimes my parents would sit in there for hours sometimes.
I was also forced to sit with them in there sometimes. But I had to be very careful because I couldn't touch anything or make the room filthy.
Extended family were always so caught between being nicer to me to try and make up for my parents or coddling my parents and putting the weight of their grief and Emily's death on my shoulders. They would tell me not to be so harsh on my parents when my parents, would let me down.
My parents could never celebrate anything I did.
My extended family tried to fill that gap. But sometimes it felt like they came just to lecture me about compassion and understanding.
I did good through school despite getting no help or support from my parents, and I got a full scholarship to college.
Before I left, my extended family came over to say goodbye and celebrate a little, because there could be no celebrating me at my parents' house.
My parents had these photos of Emily for me to take. They told me I'd need them for my dorm. But I left them behind. I didn't want to take photos of Emily. I wanted to get away from them, and that might seem really unfair.
My parents realized the next day, and I got a text from my dad calling me all sorts of names for leaving them behind. Then my extended family said I could have taken one and should, because Emily is still my sister and I should still try to remember her for my parents' sake if not mine.
Am I the asshole? Not the asshole one. Your parents need therapy to help them.
Grieving, while it has no time frame, they never allowed themselves to heal and move on.
I hesitate to put this, you might even benefit from at least talking to someone outside your family about this too. They might be able to help with the following. 2. You need to just tell them exactly how you feel, and remind them you never knew Emily. Yes, she will always be your angel sister, but you have no connection to her and they need to realize that. 3. You also need to tell anyone who says you were wrong where to go and explain exactly why. If they can't respect you as an adult, which you are, for making a decision for yourself and your own mental health, then you don't need them. This is a big one. Not the asshole in any way at all. Your parents need help and it's very sad that they never got that. You should be proud and allowed to live your life. I wish you all the best in this next phase of your life. When you are older, maybe you can try sitting down and really talking to your parents about all of this. This likely can't happen until they get help, which they seem unlikely to. I wish I had something better or more helpful to say. Just know that you are not the asshole at all. Not the asshole, but I can't imagine how hard it must have been growing up like that. I'm so sorry.
As others have said, your folks need professional help.
Moving to college looks like the clean break you need to move your own life forward. There's not a lot you can do for your parents, and you may have to limit contact if you want to avoid this argument with them in the future. Ignore the flying monkeys. If the relatives want to help your parents live in the past, they're more than welcome to put up pictures of Emily all over their homes in solidarity with your parents. You get to decorate your personal living space as you see fit. Your parents have made the choice to avoid dealing with their grief and cling to a memory instead of moving on in a positive way with their other child. None of this is on you, so not the asshole for refusing to be a part of their drama. Not the asshole. It sounds like your parents were not able to cope with the loss of their child and as a result put a huge amount of pressure on you to play the part of a grieving sibling. They could not move forward in their role as parents, so they also kept you in your sister's shadow while ignoring your successes. You suffered because of this. It's okay to leave the past in the past and make a fresh start at college. Not the asshole, but if you're in the US, I would play pretend for 3 more years. Even though you're on a full scholarship, your college will require a FAFSA from your parents each year, and it's critical that you get a degree and get independent from your parents. What they're doing is deeply manipulative and disturbing, and I can't see how you'll be able to maintain anything more than a very low-contact relationship after college. But for now, do enough to keep them engaged in your college FAFSAs. Have them mail the photos and hang them when they visit, if there's no way to avoid a visit. Warn your roommate what's up. The day your senior year financial aid FAFSA is officially submitted, you can end the charade. Am I the asshole for not being supportive of my girlfriend's decision of running a half marathon?
I, 28M, have a girlfriend, 28F, that just recently decided to sign up for a half marathon come December. The reason why she signed up is because she doesn't want to go to an event that's also happening that day, so she has a built-in excuse. That's pretty wild to me.
She asked me beforehand and I told her I thought that was a bad idea.
She doesn't like running, nor does she runs, and she could find another excuse that isn't running a half marathon.
She still signed up anyways. She then told me that she will follow a 12-week plan for running the half marathon that was given to her with her inscription. Here's the thing, I'm a runner in an elite running club. I've run over a dozen half marathons and countless 5 kiloseconds and 10 kiloseconds in my life. This summer I ran a 10K and a half marathon. I finished 5th overall in the 10K, and 12th in my category for the half marathon. I'm by no means a good runner. Good as in make a living running, but I do know what I'm talking about. She's often talked about wanting to get in shape, which I've always encouraged but never pushed for. It's not my place.
About a month ago she started to go to bar classes and she's enjoying them quite a bit. I've gone with her a couple times too, so I assumed that going to bar classes was the final motivation she needed to sign up for the half marathon.
Anyways, I advised her to start walking and jogging now before she starts the 12 weeks program. I told her that she needs to build a cardio base before she takes on a half marathon program that includes jogging, repetitions, intervals, long distance, hills, etc. She doesn't want to because she's not willing to stop going to bar classes and she gets tired doing 2 workouts a day. I told her that a half marathon is a lot mileage and that she needed to get extra prepared so she doesn't get injured in the race. She said she's not interested in achieving a good time, and just that she wants to finish, even if it's walking. Also that she has a cardio base from playing basketball growing up. She stopped playing basketball 8 years ago. I told her that she made this commitment and that she should take it more seriously. 12 weeks for a half marathon is a pretty standard program when you have been running and you want to hit your peak in the race, not when you're about to start from scratch. That was the last straw and she got really upset with me saying that I was trying to put her down, not being supportive of her, and that it's not easy for her when her boyfriend is in great shape and she isn't. At that point I apologized for making her feel that way and that I would drop it. I do feel that I need to find a better way to approach it, but I want to know, was I the asshole? You are the asshole, but it's not that big of a deal. She's telling you how she feels about the race. She said she's not interested in achieving a good time, and just that she wants to finish, even if it's walking. But you're coming at this from the perspective of someone who thinks races are serious business. I told her that she made this commitment and that she should take it more seriously. She just wants to do this to do this. She doesn't want to take it too seriously. She wants to enjoy it and do it at her own pace on her own time. You are the asshole. Oh no. She's doing my thing and she's not doing it the way I think it should be done. That's what you sound like. You are the asshole. I told her that she made this commitment and that she should take it more seriously. She's not marrying running, she signed up for a half marathon. Best case scenario is that it kicks her butt and she takes it more seriously next time. Worst case is that she bails halfway into it or has to walk it out if she's determined to finish. I think you're not the asshole, but I also think the way you wrote this is causing a lot of people to misunderstand you. I think a lot of people are interpreting your "take it more seriously" as really try to get a good time. But I don't think that's what you meant. I think you meant take more seriously the potential for self-injury in jumping into the 12-week training course, since that course is meant for people who are already runners. So, you're worried about her hurting herself, and that's a legitimate concern. Hell, just walking 13 miles in a single day is a lot. Is that what you meant? You are the asshole. It's just a half marathon. She can walk it if she wants. She can quit if she wants. She can sleep in instead if she wants. There's no consequence for not running a half marathon that she signed up for. It's not even that big of a commitment. No one, except you, are going to care if she doesn't do it. The only risk is if she doesn't train, and pushes her body too hard at the marathon and hurts herself. Rather than acting like she should become an avid runner just because she signed up for a half marathon, you should support her decision to participate in the marathon at her comfort level in a safe way. She isn't risking injury yet, so you are out of line with your lectures. As for taking the commitment seriously, give me a break. Running is your hobby, not her life's work. Not the asshole.
As a mediocre runner at best, I've done a few halves and one full but been at the middle of the pack at best. It is reasonable to point out the issues.
You sound like you're being supportive of her fitness efforts, but not necessarily a brief training plan for this kind of undertaking, which is reasonable.
Undertraining is a good way to get injured. The real issue here is this elaborate plan to get out of doing some other unnamed event, which may be what really needs to get unpacked.
Am I the asshole for not throwing a party for my mother-in-law that my husband thinks I should throw?
My mother-in-law is turning 60 in a couple weeks.
She has 5 kids, including my husband, who I have been married to for almost 3 years.
None of her kids have organized anything to celebrate her. However, I know she loves parties.
My own parents just turned 60 and I, as the eldest daughter, helped organize a celebration for my own mother. I feel bad because I know that my mother-in-law loves parties. However, I don't think it is my responsibility to throw her a party or organize anything, especially because her own kids aren't doing it. However, my husband thinks I should. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole.
You used the word responsibility, and that was perfectly chosen. Your mother-in-law has 5 grown children who are all responsible for throwing her a party.
You are not. The asshole here, I'm sorry to tell you, is your husband.
It's remarkably rude and selfish of him to A. not throw his mother a birthday party, knowing how much she likes parties, and B. to try to place that burden on you. I don't know which is worse, honestly. If he wants there to be a party, he should plan one, and you should provide exactly as much help to him as he provided to you when you planned your own mother's party.
Which I'm guessing was 0. You deserve better. Info. Is the reason you don't wish to do the work or because you feel her children ought to? What will your husband be willing to contribute when it comes to the planning? Do you want to see her celebrated? Not the asshole, she has 5 kids.
If none of them can be arsed to do it, why should you?
It would be one thing if they'd asked for your help, but your husband expects you to do it all? Nope. Maybe you could make a reservation at a nice place that she would like and have a family dinner.
That doesn't take much planning, and at least then your mother-in-law would have something.
You aren't obligated, though. Not the asshole. Your husband should do it if he wants her to have one. Sure, it takes time and effort, but it's not that hard.
Has he seriously never planned an event in his entire life?
This would be good for him then. He can rise to the challenge and figure it out. On the other hand, is there any particular chore you absolutely hate that he'd be willing to take on as a swap? Or any special treat you've been wanting for yourself that he's reluctant to agree to, like a particular vacation?
Might be worth a trade.
Not the asshole.
I'd remind husband that he is her son, and he is perfectly capable of texting his siblings to get the ball rolling on coordinating a party for their mom.
Not the asshole, your husband needs to rally his siblings and come up with a plan.
We just had a family barbecue for my mother's birthday.
It wasn't hard to organize. I texted my brothers and we decided what was for dinner and who was doing and bringing what and invited a few people. It's not hard.
It's shame your mother-in-law's children are too lazy to create a group chat and figure something out.